Up next on Phantom TV, we take a look at the Purple Press, Phoenixville High School's student newspaper. John Miller sits down with Mr. John Zittel, the advisor of the Purple Press, to discuss this year's newspaper, as well as a state award. And that starts right now.
Hello, Mr. Zittel, and welcome to the show, and congratulations on receiving the gold rating.
Thank you.
And as I just mentioned, the gold rating it received from the newspaper, from the PSPA. Can you tell us what that means to you and the members of the staff?
Pennsylvania School Press Association does a critique of the newspaper every single summer, and we've been sending it to them for 10 years, and you could get a bronze, a silver, or a gold rating. And they also give you a full critique so that you can learn how to make your paper better. They go over the writing, the layout, the different features. They basically pick it apart. And for years we've been sending it and getting silver most of the time. So to get a gold it's a great honor because only 5 schools in the entire state got it. And some of the other ones are schools like Devon Prep and Conestoga, which have amazing newspapers. So for us to be included with that group is really, really special. And I can't say I'm really that surprised. I'm really happy, but the writing that we had last year, the layout editor, which was Amanda Hosiash, I mean, they did such great work that I'm really proud of them.
That's definitely a step in the right direction. And what is the main idea behind the Purple Press? Because it doesn't seem like a traditional newspaper.
Well, newspapers are dying. People don't really read them anymore. So there's so many people looking online to get their information. So we try to make our paper not only just informative, but also have a touch of humor, maybe not take itself too seriously. So we have a lot of aspects of the paper that are funny and feature a lot of things going on in the school to not only show what's going on, but show why things are fun and give people a smile when they look at the paper. And I think that's a lot what I see when people look at it. And when we make it, we try not to always be so serious. Although we do cover things seriously and try to make sure that the information is obviously correct and informative, if it's not a touch entertaining, people will choose to look at something else. So we definitely go for that. And that might be why it's a little different than some other papers.
And in the first edition, there was a segment on twins in the school, and there was a lot of work involved in putting that together. Can you talk about the process?
Yes, the twins feature was an idea of some of our returning journalism students. And in the newspaper, we tried to get together some of the people in the school who are twins. It was tough logistically to get people together and get their picture when they're all over the school. But the question we asked is, what is the best and worst part about being a twin? And I think one of the hardest parts was getting them to differentiate their answers, because they all had the same things to say, such as copying homework from one another, or they wish they had more privacy. But they also said something touching was that they have a really good friend and someone they could always depend on. But it was just kind of cool seeing just how many twins there were, and the idea of getting them together for a picture was, I think, a pretty good feature, and a lot of people liked looking at it. And we did not get to include everybody, but the ones we did were really nice to see. And we also got our one set of triplets, the Murphys.
And what are some of the biggest challenges in putting together the newspaper?
Well, there's over 20 people here doing different things, so it's pretty chaotic. You try to feature as many of the writers as possible and teach them how to write, while you're also trying to teach them not just writing it and organizing an essay, but how to edit, because there's so much that goes into making it clear and concise, and also getting pictures and writing captions, laying everything out when you have 20 different people doing 20 different things, and also meeting deadlines, because you've got to get it out while it's still relevant. If you wait too long, the articles become outdated. So there's a lot to do in a little bit of time, but it's chaotic, and I love it, because it's different every single year, every single issue, and the people in here are enthusiastic, talented, and I hope we get another gold rating next year.
And among all 20 plus students, who probably has the most demanding job?
Probably the most demanding job would be the layout editor. That is Jenna Powell. She's a senior this year. That really puts a lot of work on her and a lot of responsibility, because she has to get all the articles that are done put in the paper to make them look nice. She has to size them up. She has to move columns. She has to make the pictures bigger, smaller, decide what there's room for. And she has to get it done quickly so that we're able to get the paper out. So even if everyone's articles are written, you got to get them in there and make it all look good. And she did put in a lot of extra time, took up a lot of study halls to get it done. And it's a new process because it was the first issue. So as she does more of it, I'm sure she'll get faster. But it's a hard job, and to some people, all of that nitpicky layout work would drive them absolutely crazy, but it takes someone with a lot of persistence to get it done and to make it look really nice, and she's doing a great job.
And there's a question everybody's wondering, including myself. Is it a class or a club?
It is a class. Behind me are members of the class. People actually sign up to take this, and it counts as a full credit elective. And what's nice about it is that it can be a class you take more than once. I have 5 people who are getting credit as Journalism 2, so they can take this class again and get another credit. And basically those students take over. They're really the ones who are the leaders of the class. They get higher level options for writing assignments, sometimes assignments that are a little more challenging, but also get a little bit more prominence, maybe front page, things like that. And those people are Jenna Powell, Elena DeLeon, Kelly Kopera, Ben Armstrong, and Ziara Bogus are all back from last year. And it also is something that people can do if they're not in the class. Anyone can contribute an article. So if someone wants to contribute something this year and they're not in the class, they just have to come and see me in room F4 and say, hey, I want to contribute, or shoot me an email. But we need to meet, because I would need to know what kind of article they want to write. I would need to know what kind of ideas they have, and we got to talk about timeliness and deadlines and so forth. But anyone can contribute, and that's what's nice, is getting people to contribute who are not necessarily part of the class.
How many staff members are there? Are there any rules that these staff members have to abide by?
A lot of rules. There's about, like I said, it's about 20. But they have to make sure that the reporting is accurate. When they interview people, they have to make sure that they get their facts straight, they get their quotes exact, because we don't ever want to write something and then publish it and find out later we had it wrong. So we double and sometimes triple check our information, because we really don't want to embarrass somebody or put out something that we find out later was inaccurate or wrong. So certainly no sensationalizing. And a big one is really timeliness. You know, people turn in essays to their teachers late all the time and get points deducted. But here, we're trying to finish a newspaper. If you don't have your article in and I have a blank space to fill, you're really messing things up. So that's a big part of it.
And for everyone watching this who's not involved in the class, how can they contribute?
Like I said, they just need to come and see me. Shoot me an email, come see me in room F4. And I'd love to feature people who like to write. And if they can get in the class next year, remember it, to sign up for newspaper, journalism. But if you can't get in, you can still contribute.
I'm in charge of layout this year because I took this class last year and I am returning, and I really enjoyed layout when the parts that we got to do. And basically what I do, I lay out all of the articles in the newspaper. Like what you see in the newspaper is what I've done, what I've put in on this program that we have in the computer. And I just have to make sure the articles are in their specific sections, so that entertainment's with entertainment and sports are with sports and stuff. I really like laying it out because it's fun for me. It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't like it if it was boring or whatever, but it is really fun. I enjoy doing it. Some of the challenges are trying to figure out how to fill in as much white space as possible, because some articles are shorter, some articles are longer, and so it's just the white space is a big thing to fill it up.
A lot of the time we spend in this class is going and finding people to talk to for our articles. If you're doing a people article, you have to go talk to just one person, but if you're doing a news article, you might have to talk to multiple students and teachers. Same thing with sports. So I think a lot of it is talking to people and getting your information in the right way. You want to ask them things that are going to get them talking. You don't just want yes or no answers. And then once you have talked to people, you come back and you pretty much write down everything they said, whether it's word for word or not. If they said something really well, and you want to get a good quote, then you can write it down and then include that in your article. And once you have your interviews transcribed and you have an idea of what you want to write about, you can actually start writing. Last year, I wrote an article about the Air Force ROTC program that has come to the high school this year, and it was really interesting because it was something I didn't know a lot about, and no one really knew anything about it yet because it had barely been advertised. So it was really cool to like be the first one to tell people about this new program and to talk to Dr. Parkinson and the people in charge of this program, and to really get to see what it was all about. So that was really interesting. And in general, like, you get a new perspective when you have to do all this research on things that you're not really familiar with, or people that you don't know very well, and it's really interesting to see what's going on.
I guess the main thing is that you have a lot more liberty of what you can write or say. Like, you know, with classes or whatever, it's like academic writing. Here you can like do an opinion article or entertainment or all that kind of stuff, really. So you have a lot more choice of what you actually want to write and all.
Looks like it's going to be another great year for the Purple Press. You can find it online or a hard copy. I'm John Miller, reporting for Phantom TV.